محمد صلوات اللهم صل على محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي ليس لأوليته ابتداء ولا لأزليته انقضاء، وانحصرت الأوصاف عن كنه معرفته، وردعت عظمته العقول، والذي لا تواري عنه سماء ولا أرض أرضا. ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على سيد البطحاء سيد المرسلين والأنبياء أبي القاسم محمد المصطفى.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى الجوهرة القدسية البتول العذراء سيدة النساء فاطمة الزهراء، وعلى بعلها أمير المؤمنين وبنيها الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.
لا سيما على بقية الله وحجته الكبرى الذي بيمنه رزق الورى، وبوجوده ثبتت الأرض والسماء، ولولاه لصاخت الأرض بأهلها، واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من حين عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم وفرقانه المجيد، وهو أصدق القائلين وقوله الحق: حتى إذا جاء أحدهم الموت قال رب ارجعوني لعلي أعمل صالحا فيما تركت، كلا إنها كلمة هو قائلها ومن ورائهم برزخ إلى يوم يبعثون. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل.
Maut and death is a ni'mat and blessing of Allah. Just like the hayat, the life, is a blessing of Allah, and both of them are living creatures, and everyone is going to see the death on the day of judgment in the form of a living creature. Quran says, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ. He is the one who created the death and the life. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ. So He can test you. أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Which one amongst you is the best in terms of actions? So what makes a difference towards our destiny is our actions and deeds. And Allah created the life and created the death so that we can see which one amongst us is better in terms of the actions. Allah already knows in His absolute knowledge, but this is itmam al-hujjah, fulfilling of the evidence for us. So when the time of death comes, what happens is there are certain khasa'is of halat al-ihtidar. Scholars of akhlaq say khasa'isu halat al-ihtidar, that time when the death is about to arrive. This situation has some specific attributes which are specific for this situation. The first specific attribute of this state of we call it state of ihtidar, means when the death is about to arrive, a person is about to die. The first thing is the curtains are removed. We have all those hijabat and curtains on our soul that block the vision to see the realities in this universe. The things in this universe, our beautiful religion is teaching us that the things in this world are not the way they seem to be. What they seem to be is the zahirul ashya, apparent face of the things. Everything has a batin, a hidden reality, and it's human to purify our souls, so we end up seeing the batin, the hidden reality, not just the zahir and apparent. The first specific attribute of the time of ihtidarul maut, the time when the death is about to happen, about to arrive, is the curtains get removed. So what happens when the curtain get removed? For a Muslim and kafir, there is no difference between that. Be it a believer, a disbeliever, a munafiq, hypocrite, zindiq, someone who has nothing to do with the belief in Allah, a Muslim, a mu'min, everyone is alike. Curtains are now removed. So now you start seeing the realities. What are those realities? A lot of realities. We start seeing the paradise, we start seeing the hellfire, we start seeing the angels, at least some of them, at least the angel of death. For some personalities, it's more than just the angel of death, but angel of death is the minimum one angel that everyone is going to see. And so this is the removal of the curtains. So when the curtains are removed, a person ends up believing, because now there is no ambiguity. Now there is no factor that can derail us from the straight path. What derails us are the sins that we do in the life of this world, and those sins cause the darkness in the soul and the curtains on the soul, and thus we get blocked out from witnessing the realities back then in the life of dunya. So now that the hijabat and curtains are removed and you start seeing the realities, everyone becomes a mu'min. Even a kafir becomes a mu'min, a mushrik becomes a mu'min, a munafiq becomes a mu'min, a zindiq becomes a mu'min. Everyone becomes a mu'min at the time of death. يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ, Quran says, يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ نَفْسًا إِيمَانُهَا لَمْ تَكُنْ آمَنَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَوْ كَسَبَتْ فِي إِيمَانِهَا خَيْرًا. So the day of judgment is a day where the iman of a person is not going to benefit him if he did not have the iman earlier. So everyone is going to become a mu'min at that time. That's not going to benefit. It will only benefit, your iman is only going to benefit if you were a mu'min before seeing the death. First attribute at the time of death, removal of curtains. The second attribute, that's muntaha darajat ad-du'f al-insani, the weakest point of a human's life. Now you enter into a state which is the weakest point in your entire life. Weakest point because you can do nothing. In the final moments, what can you do? Can you improve? Can you compensate? Just like you tie up the hands of a person, like hands and legs of a person, and he can do nothing in those in that situation. So a person is in the weakest stage of his life. If you remember, in one of my speeches, I had already mentioned several years ago, for those of you who are present, the dua of Amir al-Mu'mineen al-Islam, which we are all supposed to recite, Allahumma ja'al nafsi awwala karimatin, if you remember. Oh my Lord, make my soul the first dignified thing that you take away from me. Awwala karimatin tantazi'uha min kara'imi, wa awwala wadi'atin ترتجعها من ودائع نعمك عندي. So make my soul the first of the blessings that you take away from all those blessings that you have entrusted to me. These are entrusted trusts. These ni'mats of Allah are not owned by us. We are not the owners of any of these blessings. First of all, owner of all these blessings is Allah. These are entrusted amanat and trusts of Allah handed over to us for a short while, for certain tests. Some people are given more blessings, some people are given less of the blessings. Both of those patterns are tests from Allah. Depends who is given more and who is given less. Depends on our level of iman, taqwa and ma'rifat. So the second thing, the weakest point. So our hands in the dua of Imam Ali, he's asking Allah, the first thing that you take away from me should be my soul. That means it shouldn't happen that my hands stop working, my legs stop working, my eyes stop working, my ears stop working, my tongue stops working, my lung stops working, my kidney fails, and so on and so forth. And then you take away my soul and I die. This should not happen. Imam Ali is asking from Allah, the first thing that you take away from me should be my soul. That's the dignified way of death. Some people die a dignified way of death, some people die a non-dignified way of death. Some people die sudden deaths. Mautul Fuj'ah, how we call it. Everyone has a different style of death. And the Orofa say that كَمَا تَعِيشُونَ تَمُوتُونَ. You die the way you used to live. That's the principle. You want to discover how would be your state at the time of death? That's very easy. Just look at your situation today in your lifetime, because we are going to die exactly in the same state the way we are living, in the state of what is the level of my iman, what's the level of my ma'rifat, in-depth recognition of Allah, what's the level of my taqwa and piety. That determines the kind of death I deserve to receive. وَكَمَا تَعِيشُونَ تَمُوتُونَ. The way you live, the same way you would die. And then they say, وَكَمَا تَمُوتُونَ تُبْعَثُونَ. The way you die, the same way you are going to be resurrected. You want to know what would be your state on the Day of Judgment? Look the way you are dying. What's your state at the time of death? This is exactly our state at the time of the Day of Resurrection. Third specific attribute at the time of ihtadar al-maut, when the death is about to arrive, is that state is marhalatul tazakkur, a state of recalling. We end up recalling the entire life, entire past of ours, as if somebody runs a video of your entire life in front of your eyes. All that you have done up till now, you end up recalling. Everything you did, you recall. Obviously for a moment, the more he recalls his taqwa, the more happy he would be. For a munafiq and kafir, it's understandable. His recollection is going to make him more, miserable, because like I said earlier, you are already in the weakest point of your life. You can do nothing, as if the hands and legs of somebody is tied up. Can you do anything? Can you compensate? The answer to that is no. So you are in the weakest state. Now that you recall everything that you have done in the past, that's going to make you more miserable, because you can do nothing to fix it. The third specific attributes of the time of ihtadar is marhalatul mu'ayana. You start seeing. We see a lot of things. So when we see the angel of death coming towards us, and someone asked Imam Raza alayhi salam, why didn't Allah accept the tawbah of Fir'aun when he was drowning in the waves? And Imam Raza alayhi salam said, لأنه آمن عند رؤية البعث, because he became a mu'min at the time of witnessing the death. وَالْإِيمَانُ عِنْدَ رُؤْيَةِ الْبَعْثِ غَيْرُ مَقْبُولٍ. and the iman at the time of seeing the death is unacceptable. So, like I said already, at the time of seeing, when the curtains are removed, everyone becomes a moment, but that's not acceptable. So this is the time of mu'ayana. You see the angels. Angel of death is coming to you. Now we have elaborate narrations that talk about the details of this situation. Marhalatul mu'ayana, marhalatul iktishaf, the state of discovery, where you end up discovering those things. So now you see the angel coming towards you. So now there are narrations that tell us that if an angel of death is coming towards a muttaqi, a pious mu'min, he comes like a slave coming towards the master. If the angel is coming towards a person who is, na'udhu billah, fasiq, or kafir, or munafiq, so he is coming with a face which is very scary, a face which is upset. So that gives the whole picture of what's about to happen. So in the hadith of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, so it is narrated, إِذَا أَرَدْتَ أَن يُخْتَمَ بِخَيْرٍ عَمَلُكَ, if you want your action to end on khair and goodness, حَتَّى تُقْبَضْ, until your soul is taken away, وَأَنْتَ فِي أَفْضَلِ الْأَعْمَالِ, and you are in the most superior of the actions at that time, فَعَظِّمِ اللَّهَ حَقَّهُ. You want to be in the most superior actions, engaged in the most superior actions at the time your soul is taken out, and you end up on khair and goodness. So what's the recipe for that? فَعَظِّمِ اللَّهَ حَقَّهُ. That means you consider the haqq and rights of Allah to be great. Honor the rights of Allah. فِي أَن تَبْذُلَ نَعْمَاءَهُ فِي مَعَاصِيهِ. So we are not supposed to misuse the ni'mats and blessings given by Allah towards sinning against Allah. If this is taken care of, then we will end up in the state of khair and goodness, because our end state is actually what counts, not our beginning stage. So it is mustahab in Islam that in the last sajda of our salat we read this dua. It's mustahab. Allahumma ij'al awaqiba umurina khaira. Oh my Lord, make the awaqib, mean the end results of my life, as khair and goodness. This is what counts. It doesn't matter we are born to a father who was a mujtahid, or father who was a great personality, pious person. It really doesn't matter. What's the benefit I'm going to get from His Highness? I'm going to go to my own grave. My own belief and my own actions are going to benefit, not his beliefs and his actions. His belief and actions are with him. My beliefs and actions are with me. So there is no room for us to feel proud over, my father was so and so, my grandfather. Who cares? There's nothing to do with you in terms of your destiny. So Salman al-Farsi was never born to Muslim parents or Shia parents. He was born in a family who was Zoroastrians. So it really doesn't matter what is your family, who's your father, what's your state in the beginning of your life. What is important is what's your state at the end and last breath of your life. Aqibatul amr. This is what counts, and we do the dua. Allahumma ij'al awaqiba umurina khaira. In the hadith of Prophet Isa, ala nabina wa alihi wa alayhi salam, this kind of narrations, obviously no one was there in the time of Prophet Isa. These are all narrated from our Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salam. So Prophet Isa has said, al-banna'una yaquluna anna al-bina'a yakunu bi'awwalihi. The constructors say that the foundation is with the construction is with its beginning. That means how you are in the beginning of the construction, you are laying down the foundation of a building. That's how the constructors say. So they are focused on the beginning of the construction. وَأَنَا أَقُولُ, and he says, whereas I, Prophet Isa says, whereas I say, إِنَّ الْبِنَاءَ يَكُونُ بِآخِرِهِ, the construction is with its end status. That means the real construction of your spirituality doesn't depend on the beginning of your state of spirituality. It depends on the end state of your spirituality. This is so true. In Islam, the end state counts. So there are so many people who will be switching sides in the time of ghaibat. From the, they will be nice doing, they will switch sides. People who will be mu'min, they will become kafir before the zuhur of the imam. There will be people who will be kafir and they will become mu'min. So the end state is what counts. So the fourth specific attributes is our a'mal, our actions are personified, and we see based on our good or bad deeds. This is depending on our good or bad deeds. So those people who have good deeds, in some narrations it is told that a person, a pious mu'min, he also sees Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet is on the right hand side. The right hand side of a pious mu'min at the time of his death, before his death. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam is on his left hand side before the death. So Hasanain alayhi salam are in front of a pious mu'min. And some narrations even say that the rest of the 9 imams are surrounding them. So a person sees the A'immah, the Holy Prophet. Depends on your belief and actions. If you are a person of high beliefs and actions, this is how you would see. This is before the departure from this world. So now there is a different definition of death. Obviously the medical science, I'm not a doctor, medical science has their own definition of death, how they define the death. Islamically speaking, we have a totally different definition of death. I don't know what the medical science says. Maybe the pulse fades and the heartbeat stops and the brain dies and whatever they may be saying. But in Islam, death is defined in a different way. So in Islam, the death is defined as انفصال الروح عن البدن, separation of soul from the body, and انتقالها من عالم الناسوت, from the world of matter, إلى عالم الملكوت, to the world of hidden realities. This is the Islamic definition of death. So how long it takes for the soul to be separated, in what condition, softly, harshly, entirely depends on the aqidah, the belief and amal, actions of a person. Varies from person to person. How much is the time? There are some people who are in coma for so many months and months and months, right? You see what happened to Ariel Sharon? How much time he took in the hospital? Ma aksar al-ibar. Amir Mu'min alayhi salam says in al-Balagha, Ma aksar al-ibar wa aqall al-i'tibar. How many ibrats and lessons are there, but how less the lesson is taken. So Islamic definition is the real definition of death. Soul is taken out and then transferred to the world of hidden realities. So Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam has said, Al-hayatu wal-mautu khalqane min khalqillah. Life and death are creatures among the creatures of Allah. So when we die, we learn in the light of narrations that obviously the soul gets separated from the physical body, but it's now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is providing jismun misali, jism, a body that belongs to the alam al-barzakh. We also call it alam al-misal, also call it alam al-malakut. We also call it alam al-tajarrud al-barzakhi. Different sciences of Islam have different names for this stage. Depends which science you're talking about, discussing in the light of which science. So in alam al-misal, this is called, so we have our beliefs and actions define the form and shape of a human being, and that form and shape based on his beliefs and actions will be his form and shape of the soul. The soul is now in a specific form and shape of a body looking thing, something that looks like a body. It's not a physical body, but looks like a body. This is called jismun misali, depending entirely on the nature of your beliefs and actions. So our soul is now, after being taken out, in a special kind of body which is not physical. It's called jismun misali, depending on our actions and beliefs. So that's why you see, when you see the dreams, you see people just like in the same bodies as if they used to be in the life of this world, you know, and that's how you remember, you distinguish them. But it's not a physical body, it's a jismun misali. It's a body related to the world of misal, world of barzakh. So it has a sort of connection with the world of matter and a sort of connection with the world of tajarrud, metaphysical world. So why is the death? The question arises, why do we have death? The answer to that is simple. We have the death because we are not created for this world. As simple as that. So, just like the best example to understand is a baby in the womb of the mother. Al-Jinin fi batne ummihi. That's the best example to understand. If you ask a baby in the womb of the mother, probably the baby would never love to come out of the womb of the mother, because the baby may think that's the best place for it to live. Baby doesn't know nothing about the external world. It was never exposed to the external world. It doesn't even know about the external world. So if you ask the baby, maybe it would like to live there forever. But it has to come out and live in the life in this world. Why? Because the baby is not created to be in the womb of the mother forever. The purpose why Allah, this conception of the child and the baby is because the baby has to come out and live the life, right? Similarly, we are never created for the life of this world. The purpose why Allah put us in this world is to be transferred to the eternal life, which is the life in Akhirat, the hereafter. Remember the letter that Imam Ali alayhi salam wrote to Muawiyah, and he said, "Lasna lid-dunya khuliqna wala bis-sa'yi fiha umirna wa innama khuliqna wudi'na fiha linubtala biha faqad ibtalani Allahu bika wa ibtalaka bi." So we are not created for this world. وَلَا بِالسَّعْيَ فِيهَا أُمِرْنَا, nor were we commanded to do any effort for the sake of this dunya. All the efforts a mu'min is supposed to do is for the sake of akhirat. Not any effort is not for the sake of this dunya. وَلَا بِالسَّعْيَ فِيهَا أُمِرْنَا وَإِنَّمَا وَضِعْنَا فِيهَا. The only reason why we are placed here is to be tested. And then Imam Ali says, فَقَدْ إِبْتَلَانِ اللَّهُ بِكَ certainly Allah tested me through you and tested you through me. So Muawiyah is tested with an adil and just person like Imam Ali alayhi salam, and Imam Ali is tested like a fasiq and zalim like Muawiyah. How do they behave towards each other? So why the death? Because we are not created for this state of life, we are created for the hereafter. We are placed here for a test. In the narration it says, "Ad-dunya qantara fa'buruha wa la ta'muruha." Dunya is a bridge, so cross over it and do not construct it. So even in today's world, you find you go to a bridge and they usually write it, no parking, no standing, no waiting. It makes sense, it's a bridge. You're not supposed to wait, you're not supposed to park, you're not supposed to stand, right? So Islam says the same thing, nothing outrageous. This life of this world is a bridge. So Hadith says, "Fa'buruha," cross over it, "Wala ta'muruha," don't construct it. You're not supposed to do anything for the sake of this dunya. Ad-dunya, Imam Ali alayhi salam says, Nahjul Balagha, "Ad-dunya daru mamarrin wal akhiratu daru maqar." Dunya is a house of passage. You're supposed to pass by. Well, and the hereafter is a house of stay. فَخُذُوا مِن مَمَرِّكُمْ إِلَى مَقَرِّكُمْ. So gather from the place of your passage for the place of your stay. وَلَا تَكْشِفُوا أَسْتَارَكُمْ. And do not rip apart, do not open up your curtains. عندما يعلم أسراركم, in front of the one who knows your secrets. The hadith says if a mu'min, if a person performs one sin, so we have 70 hijabat, right, between us and Allah. So one of those hijabat, the angels are, one of those hijabat is gone. If a person doesn't do the tawbah, he performed the second sin without doing the tawbah, the second curtain is gone. So we are insulting our own selves. And then finally, when all the curtains are ripped apart, the angels of Allah put their wings in front of the mu'min so that he doesn't get insulted in front of this world and the people and the community. And then he commits the sin without doing the tawbah, doesn't even realize what wrong he's constantly doing. Then the angels remove their wings. The guy gets insulted. So there are so many blocks that Allah has provided out of His mercy. Maybe we do the tawbah. So لا تكشفوا أستاركم. Amir Muhammad says, do not open your curtains, in front of the one who knows your secrets. Allah already knows it, but He's hiding our sins in front of the people, right? So the best of the people are those who avoid the sins in the loneliness, the way they avoid in front of the people. Avoiding the sins in front of the community is easy. For good-doing people, it's easy. But avoiding sins in the loneliness is difficult. So our zahir and batin should be the same. Not just in front of the people that I maintain a very nice zahir and apparent face, but in the batin, my reality in the loneliness is different. Islam teaches us actually more than this. Islam says the batin has to be better than the zahir. Not just the batin has to be similar to the zahir, but better than the zahir. So, obviously we are sinners, but we need to do the tawbah. So we purify our souls, bring the nur back, and replace the zulmat of sins back with the nur of obedience. So each of these sins that, God forbid, that I do, every sin has a bad odor coming, And if there are Urafa present, they can recognize exactly and precisely which sin I have committed because of that odor that comes related to that sin. So if you remember the hadith of Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, he had said that well, this is actually from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He had said, ta'attaru bil istighfar. That means make yourself mu'attar, make yourself fragrant. Fragrance should come from you, right? How? Through doing istighfar. When you do the istighfar, fragrance comes from our soul. There's a good smell for every obedience and a bad odor for every sin. And the Prophet said that ta'attaru bil istighfar la yafdahannakum rawa'ihu dhunub. The bad odors of sins should not humiliate you. How we get humiliated? In front of the angels, in front of the Imam of the time, in front of Allah, in front of the Urafa, and in some of the cases even in front of the people. So is that the next question? Is that, as we are discussing the stages of death, the next question is that, is death scary? There are a lot of people who are afraid from the death, but there are some who are ready to embrace the death. They're not afraid. So is the death scary? Well, the answer is yes and no. It depends who you are. If you are a mu'min who is pious, you are not afraid of death at all. You would be embracing the death, and you would be happy at the time of death. Remember the story of Abu Zar, that he was exiled to Raza by Osman, right? And he was in the desert. There was no one with him except his daughter in the middle of the desert. And then when Malakul Maut, angel of death, showed up, he said that he welcomes the angel of death, and he said to him that welcome to the person for whom I have been waiting for so long, and the one who repents after seeing you would never succeed. So success only depends on the person who does not repent after seeing the angel of death. We are not supposed to repent. Nadamat, repentance. So when the moment who is pious and he sees the Prophet on the right, Imam Ali on the left, Imam Hassan and Hussein alayhim as-salam in the front, 9 Imams around them, and the Prophet asks the angel of death to fulfill the wasiyyat and will of Allah, and he's asked to be soft. An angel of death replies, why shouldn't I be soft when personalities like you are visiting him? An angel of death asks the Holy Prophet to ask him to raise his head. And this person who is dying, this pious moment, he raises his head and he sees the paradise, and he sees his own place in the paradise. And then he asks the angel of death to be quick to take the soul away. Remember, this is the time where most likely the family members are surrounding the person and they are crying. And this person is saying to the angel of death, be quick to take the soul away, because he's so happy. So death, is it scary? Well, it depends who you are, what's your belief, and what are your actions. So one person says to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, جُعِلْتُ فِدَاكَ هَلْ يَكْرَهُ الْمُؤْمِنْ عَلَى قَبْضِ رُوحِهِ Does a mu'min dislike when his soul is taken out? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam replies, إِنَّ الْمُؤْمِنِ إِذَا جَاءَ مَلَكُ الْمَوْتِ جَزَعَ مِنْ ذَلِكَ فَيَقُولُ لَهُ مَلَكُ الْمَوْتِ يَا وَلِيَّ اللَّهِ لَا تَجْزَعْ فَوَالَّذِي بَعَثَ مُحَمَّدًا صلى الله عليه وآله لأنا أبر لك من والد رحيم لو حضرك افتح عينيك فانظر ويمثل له رسول الله وأمير المؤمنين والحسن والحسين والأئمة من ذريتهم فيقول هذا رسول الله وأمير المؤمنين وفاطمة والحسن والحسين عليهم السلام رفقاؤك. So angel of death comes and he he says to the mu'min, I'm more nice towards you than a merciful father. Just how the angel of death talks to the nice people. So he opens the eyes, فَيَفْتَحْ عَيْنَهُ فَيَنْظُرْ وَيُنَادِي مُنَادٍ رُوحَهُ مِنْ قِبَلِ رَبِّهِ. And an announcer announces, calls for his soul on behalf of his Lord. This is the announcement made for a muttaqi and pious mu'min. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة الناظرة إلى أهل البيت. O you, the soul which is on the state of itminan. Itminan is a state in ilm al-irfan. Not every soul is in the state of itminan, but it's a state, it's a level. O you whose soul is on the level of itminan, الناظرة إلى أهل البيت, the one who is looking towards the أهل البيت, ارجعي إلى ربك, return back towards your Lord. فادخلي في عبادي محمد وأهل بيته صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Enter into my slaves. With them, right? Who are the best of the slaves? Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his Ahlul Bayt. فَمَا مِن شَيْءٍ أَحَبُّ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ خُرُوجِ رُوحِهِ. In Kitab al-Kafi, the most beloved thing in his eyes at that time is that his soul should be taken out from the body. That's the most beloved thing in his eyes. So, it's narrated from Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam so after a person dies, can he visit his own family members? Can he see his own family, his relatives? Well, let's see the hadiths. These are all informations related to the world of malakut, world of hidden realities. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for sending down his greatest messenger and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam to inform us about those informations which otherwise would have been, we had no access, zero access to this information. إِنَّ الْمُؤْمِنَ لَيَزُورُ أَهْلَهُ فَيَرَى مَا يُحِبُّ وَيُسْتَرُ عَنْهُ مَا يَكْرَهُ. A mu'min certainly visits his family and he sees what he likes and things that he dislikes are covered up from his vision. So he is not exposed about those things which he dislikes. وَإِنَّ الْكَافِرَ لَيَزُورُ أَهْلَهُ فَيَرَى مَا يَكْرَهُ. And a kafir also visits his family members and he sees what he dislikes. وَيُسْتَرُ عَنْهُ مَا يُحِبُّ. And what he loves to see, now that he's there, now he loves to see what we are supposed to love, right? Now what he loves to see is blocked away from him. He doesn't deserve it. You get what you deserve, right? Among them, there are some people, among the dead, there are some people who visit their family every Friday. We are not supposed to forget our family members on a Friday. Friday is the Sayyidul Ayyam, leader of all the days. And there are some people who visit their families according to the magnitude of their good deeds. What is the magnitude of your good deeds? A lot, medium, very less scarce. So some people deserve to visit their families in accordance with the amount of their good deeds. Now, those people who are pious, those people who have the ma'rifat of Allah, their state is totally different. If you recall, on the night of Ashura, in the night of Ashura, we are talking about those people who, all of them were Ahlul Yaqeen. All the supporters of Imam Hussain alayhi salam were Ahlul Yaqeen. So Imam Hussain showed their places in paradise. Each one of them was shown his place and his spot inside the paradise. They were Ahlul Yaqeen and Ahlul Irfan. They deserved that. So if you recall, Imam Hussain alayhi salam said to his companions, Sabran ala al-maut ayyuhal kiram, and be patient over the death, O you, the dignified ones. The companions of Imam Hussain are all dignified Ahlul Karama. They have karamat before Allah, dignified people. Famal maut illa qantara, death is nothing except a bridge. Tanqulu bikum min bu'si dunya ila na'im al-akhirah. It transfers you from the, in other words, the hardship of this world to the blessings of akhirat. And on top of everyone is Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, who extinguishes the candle in the night of. Look at the tawakkul on Allah. That Imam Hussain, this is called the peak of tawakkul on Allah. That a person sees none but Allah throughout his life and focuses on nothing but Allah. It's very difficult, brothers. If I'm surrounded in a situation where I'm about to be killed by the enemies, and enemies are outnumbering me, and I know I'm going to die, right? And I have a handful of companions. A sinner like me, what would I do? I would try to save my companions, right? I would like to save my companions. But Imam Hussain is focused on the human beings. He has no attention, no tawajjuh towards anyone other than Allah. You know, so Imam Hussain Islam, in the most critical situation of his, not only of his life, most critical situation in the history of humankind. This incident of Karbala has no example, no parallel, right? The most critical incident in the history of humankind, Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is asking his companions and the Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Bayt were also present in that tent, asking them, all of them, to leave. لِيَأْخُذُ كُلُّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْكُمْ بِيَدِ رَجُلٍ مِّنْ أَهْلِ بَيْتِي. Each one of you should grab the hand of one person of my Ahlul Bayt. وَذَرُونِي وَهَؤُلَاءِ الْقَوْمِ, and leave me with these people. فَإِنَّهُمْ لَا يُرِيدُونَ غَيْرِي, because they don't want anyone other than me. Look at the tawakkul of Imam al-Hussain. Unsurpassable, unthinkable highness. Unthinkable. And obviously these companions are also the greatest. His Ahlul Bayt are also the greatest. إِنِّي لَا أَرَى أَصْحَابًا أَوْفَى, right? Min ashabi. He said himself, praising his companions, I don't see companions more faithful than my companions. And nobody ever had companions like Imam Hussein's companions. وَلَا أَهْلَ بَيْتٍ أَبَرْ وَأَوْفَى مِنْ أَهْلِ بَيْتِي. I don't see any family members of anybody more good doing and more faithful than my Ahlul Bayt. So nobody left. Nobody left Imam al-Hussain. So these people are Ahlul Karama. They have the dignity before Allah. This is dignity. Not leaving the wali of your time alone. Not leaving the wali of your time alone. Because if we leave the Mawla and wali alone, we are insulting our own selves. Apart from the khiyanat and breach of covenant that we are doing, we are actually insulting our own selves big time before Allah. And those people who betray their wali and Mawla, they don't deserve to live either, and they live a life of insult, and they get even more insulted on the Day of Judgment. So Imam al-Hussein al-Islam is the one who takes a lead on every khair. Some of the scholars in Maqatil have written that even on the day of Ashura, even in Karbala, Imam al-Hussein al-Islam acted upon every mustahab. When you are in such miserable, hard situations, surrounded with, multiple calamities, problems, most of which are unparalleled, then you find that, or all of them are unparalleled, then you find Imam al-Hussein al-Salam not only performing the wajibs, but not leaving any of the mustahabs. Some of the scholars say, ask his own son, Ali al-Akbar, to go ahead first. Before anyone else from Ahlul Bayt can offer the sacrifice, Ali Akbar should go first. Imam al-Hussein is taking a lead on every khair. So you send your own son first, before you expect other members of your Ahlul Bayt, the children of Hazrat Aqil, the children of Hazrat Muslim alayhim salam, before they can go first, the children of Imam al-Hasan, right? Qasim ibn al-Hasan, Abdullah ibn al-Hasan, and so on and so forth. Children of Sayyidah Zainab, Sayyidah Kulsum had no child. Before you expect others of Ahlul Bayt go, you send your own son first. Amama of Rasulullah is placed on the head of Ali al-Akbar. And Ali Akbar is sent. Sayyid ibn Ta'us rahmatullah alayhi says that Imam Hussein said, Allahumma ashhad ala ha'ula'il qawm. O my Lord, bear witness against these people. فَقَدْ بَرَزَ إِلَيْهِمْ غُلَامٌ أَشْبَهُ النَّاسِ خَلْقًا وَخُلْقًا وَمَنْطِقًا بِرَسُولِكَ. Now that young man is going who is the most resembling, to your messenger in terms of his creation, appearance, in other words, how he looks like, and his morals, akhlaq, khulqan, وَمَنْطِقًا, in terms of his talk, his speech. وَكُنَّا إِذَا اشْتَقْنَا إِلَى زِيَارَةِ النَّبِيِّ كَانَ نَظَرْنَا إِلَيْهِ. Whenever we were eager to do the ziyarat of your Prophet, we used to look at him. Imam al-Hussein used to do the ziyarat of Rasulullah by looking at the handsome, beautiful face of Ali Akbar. He's the most resembling. So my teacher, Ayatollah Jawadi, Hafidahullah, was saying in his lesson that this hadith of Imam al-Hussein is an evidence that Ali Akbar is ma'soom, because someone who is the most resembling can never do a sin. This hadith is an evidence that Ali Akbar is ma'soom. And he also curses Umar ibn Sa'ad la'natullah alayh by saying, قَطَعَ اللَّهُ رَحِمَكَ كَمَا قَطَعْتَ رَحِمِي. May Allah cut your lineage the way you cut my lineage. He had the right to say that. And some scholars say that Ali Akbar was advised to keep on turning his face for as long as he can, so Imam al-Hussein can do the ziyarat of Ali Akbar. No one has a son like Ali Akbar, so no one can understand the pain of Imam al-Hussein. Only he can understand the pain. And in some narrations say when Ali Akbar departs, he finds some voice coming from behind. As he turns around, he says his own elderly father is walking behind him. He just bid farewell to his father, but the father is still walking behind him. How much pain Imam Hussain is going through, we can't understand. Even Ali Akbar cannot understand because he doesn't have a son like himself. Only Imam al-Hussain can understand what is happening to Ali Akbar and what is happening to Imam al-Hussain at that time. Ali Akbar is sent. He did his jihad, and after a while he comes back to his father and demands some water. Well, how can Imam Hussain provide the water? There is no water available. Imam Hussain shows his dry tongue to his son. And the son says that your tongue is even drier than my tongue. God knows, see, when the water is scarce or not available, you try to give water to your children. To your person like Imam Hussain would give it to his companions and the rest of the people first before drinking himself. This is the karamat of Imam Hussain. God knows since how long Imam Hussain is thirsty. We don't know. So he shows his tongue to Ali Akbar, and Ali Akbar says, your tongue is even drier than my tongue. And this is where my Mawla comforts his son by saying, soon Rasulullah is going to provide the drink of Kawthar. Imam Hussain is comforting his son Ali Akbar. And Ali Akbar said something, whispered something into the ear of Imam Hussain. فَبَكَى بُكَاءً عَالِيًا. My Mawla cried with a loud voice. Sayyidah Zainab was there, and Sayyidah Zainab asked Imam al-Hussain the reason why he's crying, and he says the tradition is that the father performs the wasiyat and will to the son, but today the son is doing the wasiyat and will to the father. This is why Imam Hussain cried with a loud voice. What pain Imam Hussain went through. And then Ali Akbar is sent again. He goes to the battlefield again. He did his fight and he falls down. And Sayyidah Zainab goes next to Ali Akbar, and when he falls down, and she makes sure she reaches Ali Akbar ahead of Imam al-Hussain, reaching him. How much Imam Hussain loves him, she knows it very well. Look at how Sayyidah Zainab is comforting her brother. And then, in those final moments when Ali Akbar has fallen on the ground, now Ali Akbar starts to comfort his father. Hada Jaddi Rasulullah. This is my grandfather Rasulullah. He sees Rasulullah. Hada Jaddi Rasulullah. Yaqra'uka salam. He says salam to you. And Prophet is saying that Ajjalil Quduma ilayna. Come quickly towards us. Ali Akbar is comforting Imam al-Hussain. And then there was a part of the spear that was broken and got stuck into the chest of Ali Akbar. And how can the father tolerate his son being in so much pain? So my Mawla Imam al-Hussain is now about to take the broken piece of spear out of the chest of his son. And this is where my Mawla is taking out that piece, and the soul of Ali Akbar departs. فَوَضَعَ خَدَّهُ عَلَى خَدِّهِ. He puts his cheek over the cheek of Ali Akbar and says, عَلَى الدُّنْيَا بَعْدَكَ الْعَفَا. أَلَا لَعْنَةُ اللَّهِ على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون إلهي بحق الزهراء وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها. Ya Allah, 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 Ya Allah. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين واخذل الكفار والمنافقين. اللهم انصر من نصر الدين واخذل من خذل المسلمين. اللهم انصر واحفظ وأيد علماءنا الربانيين ومراجعنا الربانيين، لا سيما الولي الفقيه قائد المسلمين. اللهم انصر جيوش المسلمين وعساكر الموحدين. اللهم فك عن الأسراء المسلمين. اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضى، وعجل في فرج مولانا صاحب الزمان، واجعلنا من أنصاره وأشياعه وأتباعه وأعوانه بجاه محمد وآله الطاهرين. Let's read the ayat al-Karima 5 times for all the mu'mineen and mustadafeen and mahrumeen and mazlumeen in the Islamic Ummah. Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki, his great wife, all those mu'mineen who are in the prisons of Nigeria, those sisters and brothers who are in the prisons of Bahrain, Sheikh Salman, Ayatollah Isa Qasim, those mu'mineen who are in the prisons of Hijaz in Pakistan, all those innocent people in Yemen, in Iraq, in Sham, and elsewhere who need our dua, especially those who are sick and those who have requested for dua. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. 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 اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. One Surah Al-Fatiha is requested from Marhum Syed Raza Abidi. One Surah Al-Fatiha and 3 times Surah Al-Ikhlas.